Thank you for rocking with me. So, this session is part two finances and budgeting children. And when I say children, I'm like, if there is an adult dependent living with you and they're living with you because they don't know how to manage their funds, this for you too. First things first, the whole point of the series is investing in ourselves and navigating transitions, teaching life skills. As a parent, the goal typically should be to raise this wonderful individual that you've been blessed with, to make them independent and self-sufficient functioning person in society. You do a disservice to your child if you are letting them go throughout life. They don't know how to cook, they don't know how to clean, they can't make a budget, they can't balance a checkbook. If all they know is we DoorDash, we Postmates, unless they have a trust fund, and most of the people I know don't have trust funds. And even if you do have a trust fund, the economy can go either way. Situations can change. These are life skills. So to not have conversations with your child about money, about planning for the future, is to set them up for failure. And we're kicking this one off on behind the video that I did of people. It's high school. Here's January. People are waiting for decision, like, did I get accepted into college? And yay, you get accepted, but we ain't got the money to send it. That you should not be having it. It's just like if you're buying a house. There's no way you should be putting an offer in on a house you can't afford. How do you not know your budget? How do you not know whether or not you've been pre-qualified, pre-approved? How do you not know these things? Same thing for your child. So, first of all, we talked about a budget in the previous thing. I mentioned to you guys there's a budget worksheet that is on the matrixnavigation.com website. It's also on Rondaisms. So, first of all, what does a budget worksheet look like? Go there, print it out. When it comes to your children, I know most people, we swipe everything with debit or credit cards. How we learned how to count? My dad had a bag full of money, coins that he would keep. And that's how we learned to count. It's like, okay, count. We had nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, silver dollars. Remember those? And that's how we learned to count. And they would send us to the corner store or the grocery store to get certain things, and they expected their change back. And we had to count out the change. One, so we knew how to manage money, and so you weren't taken advantage of. My grandmother used to be the candy lady, and I was amazed at how many kids came in, and they would just give the money because they didn't know how to do the change. So just little things like this, like, it should start young. Like, no, just like, you're teaching them their ABCs. Okay, this is a growing process, and your kids should not be graduating high school and not knowing basic life skills like how to cook them. And I'm not talking about no box mac and cheese with the powdered stuff. Can they cook a meal? Can they make some chicken and rice? What can they do? Can they budget? So first things, start introducing these things to these kids young. Like I said in the previous one, for my nieces and nephews, when it came to their birthday, they had a birthday budget. Christmas budget. If they did something special, yes, there is a budget for that. Because when I would be like, tell me what you want and I'll get it. They wanted everything and then some. It's like, honey, it's too many of y'all. And even if auntie had it like that, no, we don't give you everything because we can. No, earn this. There's rights and there's privileges and there's a difference. So, like I said, I gave one time, couldn't get something, and so I gave my niece a gift card to Toys R Us. I know it's not here anymore. when she went to Toys R Us and came back, she had nothing that was on the list. She gave to me. And I'm like, hey, honey. So you don't have anything on that list. Auntie, do you know how much that stuff was? But this was on sale, so I was able to get more. We understand the concept of saving money when it's your money. Got it. From then on, nope. Here's your gift card. Here's your budget. And a budget isn't a bad thing. The B word is not bad. It's everybody has a budget. Again, when I've talked to financial advisors and financial planners, they mention even their wealthy clients. Wealthy clients have a budget. They don't spend everything they have. They are spending probably less than 3% of what they have. The rest, they're saving and investing. So a budget is not, oh, you're poor, you need a budget. No. If you want to create wealth and make money for you, you're going to have a budget. So that's the starting place. How it starts is when they're young. And like, I know a lot of people are ordering online, but like I said, when my sister and I started to drive, if you want to drive the car, we had to do certain things. First thing was, my mom was like, I don't grocery shop no more. Here's the list. She wrote out the check. Go get the groceries. And then you guys are free to use the car for the weekend. So, and we knew. It's like, no. It was my mom. She knew. And she had taught us how much this should cost and that should cost. If your child, the first thing they does is reach for the first thing. Again, typically what's at eye level, it's going to be the most expensive product. That doesn't mean you have to get generic. But it's like, hey, look down, look up, and compare. Okay, do they understand that? Do they know that? So, like I said, start teaching them things with just like, okay, if they do get an allowance. I did not. My family, my dad was like, I was like, Daddy, why don't we get an allowance? My friends get an allowance. He was like, what do they get an allowance for? I was like, cleaning their rooms, getting good grades. He was like, hold on. You sleep in that bed? And you want me to pay you to make up the bed you slept in? You use the bathroom, all that. He's like, your job as a kid, get good grades, do your household chores. He's like, now if you do above and beyond, I will reward you. So I never had an allowance. And a lot of the times, like I said, we were working class, blue collar. There was no extra money. So my dad would say things like, if you come up with half, I'll come up with half. So I did have an after school job. I had to do work study in college because we didn't have the funds. Again, first generation college. So do things like that for your kids. Okay, if you want this, how can you earn this? You can be old school. Go rake the neighbors' leaves. They can do babysitting. If you were the type of person that had to work growing up, because that's just, you had to. And I understand you don't want your kids to have to. However, there is a benefit to having a summer job. And that doesn't mean that they need to have a summer job the entire summer. But they need to understand what it feels like to earn some money. And also I was, so they shouldn't like, oh, they're not going to work. Well, they need to get some, particularly in college, they need to do some summer internships. They need to understand what that looks like. So the first times they're finding out about a budget should not be when you're sending them off in a world and people are expecting them to know certain concepts. Set your kids up for success. And it doesn't mean that, you have to make them go out and work, but they should understand basic skills. And it's like, and there's a value to having a part-time job, to having a summer job. And it doesn't mean you take up their entire summer break for it. They need to understand that when they work those 40 hours, they're not getting all that money. It's going certain places. They need to understand that whatever they get, they should be setting aside. I had set up savings accounts for all of my nieces and nephews. And they were like, can they get into it? And I was like, okay, hold on. Understand this. That savings account is for an emergency. Like Scholastic Reader Day? No, not like Scholastic Reader Day. I mean, I know and I love that day, but that's not an emergency. That is not what your savings account is for. Have these conversations. Took them to the bank. when I set up their savings accounts, had them right there so they understood that. When I bought my house, my niece had her there, so she was like, when I signed the note and got the keys, she was had them be part of those experiences so that they understand. And it's not you have to expose them to the crazy hairiness of it, but start letting them see what adulting looks like before they are kicked out in the world. And I see all these Instagram videos of, oh my God, adulting's so hard. Yeah. Why do you think your parents were so stressed? Start introducing them to concepts of have your budget. Like even if they have a birthday, here's your birthday budget. Here's your Christmas budget. Okay, we have a budget for our vacation. We set up a savings account for your college. So that means that you only have this amount, and this is how you need to start planning and prepping for I want to go to college, and how this is going to impact that, and why you need to get scholarships. Someone said their child was complaining because why do I have to get scholarships? Well, you cannot go to college. I'm like, you have to put skin in the game. And it's if you can afford to pay for your child's college, great. But most of us, even if you've set aside some, college is anywhere between $20,000 to $90,000 a year. That's more than $90,000 is more than what I paid for 3 years of law school. Your child is not gonna come out with a job that's gonna help them pay that off. So most of us are going to have, like we probably can afford a certain amount for the kids' college, but not over that. And who doesn't like getting a scholarship helps lessen that burden. So you don't want your kids to be, like adulting's hard. No, you should have introduced him to certain things and skill sets. So I'm looking at my notes. I'll put this one out there. If you've been lucky enough, great and wonderful. Those that know. Some people growing up had their legal guardians put bills in their name. Gas bills, light bills, credit cards, etc., etc. That is going to, particularly if you are first generation and you're going off to college, and some adult, parent, aunt, uncle, whoever did this, you're going to have to go, and adults, you should already be annually checking your credit report. If a young person and this has happened to you, you need to, check your credit report. If there are bills that are in your name before you were legally 18 and you did not do, and maybe it's because you have the same first and last name as a family member, you need to clear that up. First of all, your birthdays are different, and typically a person under 18 can't enter into contracts most of the time. So you're going to need to clear up your credit if that has happened. Just be like, and someone's like, I'm not trying to snitch. I'm like, you need to clear up your credit. Nobody's saying snitch. Just say, I am so-and-so. This is my birth date. There's no way I could have done this because hence I wasn't an adult. I couldn't have put the light bills in my name. So that's something that, I know unfortunately some people have gone through that. I've had to help certain people clear that up, but that might be something that you need to do. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for those who have to do that. But again, set your kids up for success. And a lot of that is also allowing them to experience failure. Failure is good. And we learn the most from when we fail. Michael Jordan became so great because he failed. And then he was like, you know what? I'm going to work hard at that. Look at Blue Ivy. First time she stepped out on the stage, you were like, sis needs some help. But then she grinds. She's like, hey. And now we're like, go blue, go blue. That's what you want to set up your children for. And let them know, because every time they come out the gate, it's not going to be like, Beyonce great. But if they work hard, they put in that work, they grind, then you're like, hey, watch out now. That's what you're trying to set up your kids for. You're trying to let them know that, yep, you fall, we fall down, we get up. Okay? They shouldn't be afraid of a little dirt and working a little hard. And a little no, as my dad said, ain't never hurt nobody. But if they really want it, they'll figure out a way. They'll have that grind, and then it was like, you know what? Because when my dad said, if you come up with half, I come up with half. Hold on. Okay, we can either get a part-time job. I found scholarships. If they want it, they'll want to work for it and earn it too. Those are not bad things. And like I said, in trying to prevent our children from experiencing everything that we went through, a lot of times the baby and the bathwater has been thrown out. No one's saying spank or beat your child, but they need to understand consequences. They need to understand failure so they can figure out how to bounce back from it. And if the first time they're experiencing that is 18 to 21, or when they're on their way out the door, when they're about to be off your health insurance and they forgot to do open enrollment at work because mom's always had it for me, you haven't helped them. You haven't helped them at all. So again, the point of these things are, one, start having the conversations earlier. And it's not like you need to take your 7-year-old and have them figure out the grocery bill. Start introducing them to concepts, like, oh, they want that toy. Here's your budget. With the great nieces and nephews, we are not walking into anybody's store without, okay, we have the conversation. My mom's conversation to us when we were younger was, when we go in the store, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, you don't want nothing, you don't need nothing. We were a little cash strapped. I don't have that same situation, but I do have a rule. Here's the budget. Auntie's only giving you $5, only $10. Or, no, I bought enough toys for you now, there will be no toys. Maybe you can have a book. There's nothing wrong with that. Set up parameters. Everything shouldn't be a yes, because guess what? In life, everything is not a yes. Even when we do, my father, he was like, you don't always get what you want, even when you deserve it. That is life. If you are leading your child to believe that anytime they want it, they're going to get it, and even when they worked hard, life sometimes knock you down. That is Hakuna Matata. Get up, fight. If you want it, and something like that, good things happen to bad people. But as parents, you're helping them to weather the storms of life, so they know, like I said, Mike Tyson said it best, everybody talking stuff until they get knocked out. Okay? Everybody like, oh, I'm you ain't gonna do nothing. You just gonna get hurt. So prepare your child. I took boxing, love boxing. My dad loved boxing. The first thing you learn is how to take a punch, because guess what? You will be hit. And the last thing you want is the first time you get hit to be in a ring. No. You should have gotten hit long time before that. And guess what you're gonna learn? First time my trainer hit me, I was like, what? Because I was doing something wrong. We're boxing, and I'm jab, right. I had a problem though. Whenever I would throw my right, drop the left. He had warned me, Rhonda, stop, keep him up, keep it here. We went in the ring for his little sparring. He had warned me. And then, I was mad. He was like, from then on, I was like, keep it tight. Sometimes the best lesson, get knocked down. Because how do you get back up? So don't be afraid to let some life lessons happen with your children. You got to take the training wheels off at some point. And taking the training wheels off at 18, okay, then don't get upset when they got to keep coming back home because they're not prepared for the world. Take off the training wheels. And you can do that gradually. But start introducing them to a budget. Start talking about finances. Why are we not talking about it? Start talking about, what it looks like for, why do most people have jobs because we need health insurance. And that's where you get your health insurance from, your job. And if they do get rid of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, your child that's over 21 that's on your plan, that can be on your plan until they're 26, needs to find out where they're going to get health care. So if you haven't had that conversation with your child, and everybody's like, get rid of Obamacare, and if your child's between 21 and 26 and they get rid of Obamacare, I hope you've discussed to them what they're going to be doing to find health care. I'm just saying. All right, people. That's the end for me. It's been a long day. I've done a couple of these. Hopefully this is helpful. The whole point is to help you out. And also, as I mentioned, everything I'm talking about, go to rondaisms.com. I've already written tons of articles about it. There will be links in there. The whole point is, how do we navigate these transitions? How do we give life skills? And how do we adjust and pivot when life knocks us down? And, I get it. I've been there. It's not fun. It's not fair. But when you get knocked down, you got to figure out how to get back up again. Got to come back up again. So if life has knocked you down, do not be discouraged. Don't. Have your pity party for a short time. And then start working on, how do I come back? And sometimes it's going to look differently than what you anticipate, which is why, even though we have a plan, we adapt and adjust the plan. We do quarterly check-ins, mid-year check-ins to figure out, is the plan working? What do we need to do to tweak it? So, like I said, don't be married to the plan, because sometimes you got to change the plan, because guess what? It's not working for the current situation. And because what worked before, it's like when you exercise. You're working out, the weight's coming off, you're like, hey, and then you plateau. And you have to adjust your workout routine, because guess what? Your body's gotten used to that workout. Now it's like, okay, maybe this time we need to add more weights, or maybe this time we need to do something else. It's okay. It's part of the cycle. So sometimes you plateau, and that might happen with our business plan for our life, or with our kids. Something happens, and it's like, okay, we need to tweak the plan. We need to talk to therapists. We need to bring in other wellness checks and stuff like that. So 2025, we're investing in ourselves, our financial, our mental, emotional, and physical. We're investing into ourselves. We are not going in hoping for the best. We're going in, it's like, okay, situation not as great as I would like it, but let's weather this storm. Let's go in eyes wide open. All right, guys. Bye.